Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this, my friends, is the Thunder Show, aka the internet's most passionate wine program. And today we talk about a grape varietal that, you know what, for a lack of a better word, is under the radar. Ma, you like that? Under the radar? It gets dissed a little bit too much to me. As a matter of fact, in the wine nerd communities, it actually has a lot of respect, but it's a grape varietal that I think, you know, coming off of yesterday's Mourvèdre episode, it's all about 2009, expanding the palate, keep pushing that pal through the door. And it's a grape that I think has a great tradition. I mean, you know, first talked about and discovered in the 1400s. This isn't yesterday. A grape that made its premiere in South Africa in the mid-1600s, 1650 or so. I mean, a grape that's been around for a long time, and that's Chenin Blanc. Chenin Blanc is a grape varietal that does amazing damage, I'll call it even, in the Loire Valley in France, which is one of my favorite areas in the world. They're very crisp, clean wines, and it's a very versatile grape because it is absolutely prominent and skillful in making both dry, sweet, and sparkling wine. You could almost call it a triple threat. It's like Beyonce up in here. You know, I mean, Chenin Blanc is a very versatile grape, can do a lot of things, and I think that it is a grape varietal that deserves a lot of attention. And just to cap it off, because we have two Chenins here today, I decided to mix it up because we've been really theme-oriented. I also threw in a Pinot Bianco mott right here. Pinot Bianco, really prominent in Alto Adige, Veneto, Friuli. This is from the Collio region in Lombardy. Really interesting white grape as well, I think, is another classic example of white wines that are under the radar. So, two Chenins, one Pinot Bianco, just for kicks and giggles, really, because, you know, it's my show, I can do what I want. So let's get right into the first wine, which is the Mulderbosch. Always, by the way, one of my favorite labels of all time. Aaron, you like designs. This label is like always, you like it? Always been one of my favorite. Mulderbosch 2008 Chenin Blanc rolls in at $11 US. Great time to give a big shout out to Kellen Clemens. Well, we've forgotten about Kellen Clemens. It seems like 3, 5, 10, 15 years ago. Mulderbosch is one of the great producers of South African wines, period. And Chenin Blanc should really be catching your attention in South Africa. I think it's a place where the grape does extremely well. They tend to be herbaceous and clean and crisp and very vivacious, and it's really an interesting place. First, like I said, hit the scene in South Africa in the 1650s, and really probably one of my go-to, you know, new areas to recommend people who like New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Grigio. I'm really pushing, heavily pushing people to start drinking Chenin Blanc from South Africa in that $8 to $15 price range that like those varietals. Let's give this wine a sniffy sniff. Comes across with an interesting mix of like hay, like really dry hay, with like taking a little bit of like limes and like squeezing it over the dry hay. So like a dry hay meets lime juice kind of component on the nose. I'm also getting a little bit of like a butter, squash. Yeah, butter squash, like a squash kind of thing going on the nose, which I find quite fascinating, a little different. But very vibrant, very spritzy, as I might say. Almost like seltzer coming through on the nose. But it's not, you know, not bubbly. Let's give it a whirl. Really nice acid on the back end, which is something that I believe Chenin Blanc is consistently giving me. I also get big gops of honey. One of the few things I don't love in the world, honey, but really showing quite well. And then when I do like honey, it's usually when I'm in a cheese platter and there's sliced apples, and I take the apple and I dip it into the honey. You know what I'm saying, right? Is that why you're licking your chops? You know? I get that kind of component coming through on this mouthfeel. I get a very serious, heavy, actually very dominant Granny Apple Smith component. This is almost apple juice-like on the palate. I like the acid on the back end. I think this is a very friendly wine for food. That gets exciting. At the same point, with all the good things going on, it is not the sharpest tool in the shed. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's kind of like that friend you have that kind of peaked in high school, right? It was only limited to a certain amount of skill sets. That's what this wine is. This is a high school peaking wine. I like it. It's good. Hooray. Was rocking at 16 years old, but then kind of like fell off. And that's not to talk about the way the wine feels, because it's got a good finish just globally. It's a very one-dimensional, hey, I'm going to give you some apple juice, high acid, I'll go good with foods, drink me on the porch, but don't ask too much from me. And that's what this wine's doing. And I'm not asking too much from you, Molderbosch. I'm going to give you the 87 points you deserve, and I'm going to move on because it's a perfect example of solid Chenin Blanc, which I'm very thankful for. I appreciate it. I'm going to shake your hand, but I'm going to move on. Mott, let's move on. That was good. I liked it. It was fine. Now, let's talk about the area in the world where Chenin Blanc is really doing damage. And that is in the Savennières, in the Loire Valley. That's right here. And this producer, the Beaumard, 2005, is one of the great producers in the world. I would say that Domaine de Beaumard and Nicolas Jolet are probably the two top producers in all of the Savennières. Very interesting area in the Loire Valley. About 300 hectares planted. Excuse me, the area is about 300 hectares. It's about halfway planted. So about half of those hectares are planted in Chenin Blanc. This wine rolls in at $20 US. It is 90 points Wine Spectator, and I think it's kind of neat. I want to give you a little fun fact, Mott. I've been saving this one. I've been like, this has been in the back pocket, like kind of like the Ace of Spades if I ever needed it. I'm going to give you a fun fact and a half. I'm talking like whip this fun fact out this weekend, and I guarantee you nothing but ladies, cash, and riches. Chenin Blanc is the third most planted grape in all of California. Mott, see, you reacted. Maybe not the coolest thing you ever heard, but it is a solid fun fact because absolutely nobody talks about it. You would have never guessed that. I would have took your money, and it would have been great. It is an absolutely under-the-radar grape. Now, why is there so much Chenin in California and you've never seen it? Almost all of it goes into those big-ass jugs of Carlo Rossi and Taylor and all those brands, Almadine. So it is a jug wine varietal in the U.S. A shame. Some people should really start focusing on it. Let's give this a sniffy sniff. Now this has a totally different thing going on. Wow, this is wild. I get a little bit of like a classic, it actually smells like Cointreau, like the liqueur. It's got like that orange peel Grand Marnier kind of thing going on the nose. I also get very heavy dosage of like ripe pear, you know, when it's just like dripping all over you. I get a lot of that on the nose. I also get like classic sugar cubes coming through, you know, like the little sugar cubes that my Dietrich Shaya used to put in his tea. I get a little bit of that on the nose as well. Also, very high on the floral component. I don't know if you got that, the little dandelions, acacia flowers that I know you like to pick in the summer. You know, that kind of stuff. So, a lot of that kind of stuff going on. Very spicy and racy, too. I almost get, like radish coming through on the nose. Intriguing, very complex. Did you get a little bit of burnt rubber? You did, right? Because, you know, just a hair, not a lot. Nothing like we've seen, probably the least of any wine we've ever had on Thunder Show, but there's still just a hair. Like somebody skidded out yesterday. You know what I mean? Cutting that a little bit. Let's give it a whirl. Very dry. Again, this is a 2005. This white wine, the Chenin Blanc, can last a little while in the bottle. 3 to 7 years. A lot of Sauvigniers have really done well by me. This is an exceptional food wine. If you're into shellfish, you need to really expand the Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Sancerre play. Sancerre was so 2008. Come on. You need to absolutely expand your palate. Sauvigneurs is a play if you're a big oyster head. Little West Coast oysters, Kumamoto's, Olympia's, great stuff. This wine is very creamy on the palate, which I'm enjoying. It's got a very distinct and heavier viscosity and mouthfeel than I would have expected from a Chenin Blanc where you get a lot of acid. Let me give it one more shot. Undeniably, this wine has very pure pear flavors on the mid-palate, which I like quite a bit. It's got good length. The acid is coming through even more on the back end on the second taste of this wine. You know, I like this wine, but I've got to be honest with you, it is missing a little bit of the oomph that I kind of thought. I was really, really excited about trying this wine. I had not had it yet. Good score, good price point for a Sauvignon. an area I'm very passionate about, that I'm really hoping that a lot of Vaniacs out there, sub question of the day, have you ever had a Sauvignon? Give little yes, no's. Let's see it out there. Something I was really hoping to induce people to get excited about. Again, it's just one wine from the whole area, but it is a big producer and a great producer for that matter. It just didn't bring as much oomph, lacking a little bit on the acid, and a little bit more distinction and flavor would have been appreciated, Beaumard. Other than that, it is still got a very gorgeous mouthfeel. It's creamy, which I like, and makes me wonder if, Chardonnay fans could get into a wine like this, though it is much more crisp, unless maybe you look at Chablis for Chardonnay drinkers. I do find this wine as something that you want to drink now. I think it's maybe losing a little bit of its luster. I would pair it, once again, with a lot of shellfish. I also think that it would go tremendous with a bologna sandwich. And I think it's a solid wine. I'm going to go maybe a point and a half. I'm going to go 88 plus on this wine. A little disappointed, and not so sold that I wouldn't enjoy drinking the Molderbosch a little bit more, just for the acid that it brings to the table. A little disappointing. Sorry, Mott. Now, let's move on. Now let's talk a little bit about the Pinot Bianco. This is the Ruzis Superior, 13.5% alcohol content, Colio, 2006 vintage, 90 points Wine Spectator, $18 US. Comes from the Marco Faluga family. This is in Friuli, which is easily probably the best area in the world producing white wine that nobody talks about. I give big ups to the Mario Batali group in New York City. They've really done a good job with bringing Italian white wines more to the fold in the New York scene. Still lacking pretty much across the rest of the U.S. and even in New York, it hasn't totally blown up. Pinot Bianco, not to be confused with Pinot Blanc, and so kind of excited about this little wine. Let's let's give it a sniffy sniff. Now this has a beautiful, this has like a custard component on the nose, which I find quite fascinating. As you can see, very golden color. Mott, are you recognizing the skills? Get up here. Get a little high for me. Get a little high, Mott. Gorgeous little golden colors on the color of the wine, which I like quite a bit. On the nose, I get a very beautiful custard component. I get a potpourri action. Lots of little flowers bouncing about on my nose piece. I get almost like sugar-fied lemons. I don't want to go lemonade. That's what makes me think, like, what this really makes me think of is grab an Eclair, open it up, take out the gook in the middle, the cream, put it on top of a half-opened lemon, put a little sugar on that, put it in the microwave for a minute, and then smell it. That's what this smells like. I hope that worked for you, because that's what this really smells like for me. And I like it. It's quite pretty. Let's give it a whirl. So what, we allocated 93% of this show to Chenin Blanc, and the Pinot Bianco came in here and completely whipped their ass. This wine destroys these last two wines. This is where everybody's going to be mad about scores because it's only going to get a 91 or something. 87, what does that mean? Please don't send me that email. Let me give this one more shot. Pinot Bianco is a very interesting varietal. It actually is believed to originate from Burgundy. So don't sleep on Pinot Bianco. This has tremendous weight. I mean, just massive weight. Eric, you want to try it? AJ?
Can't.
Right. Eric? Matt, what do you think? Can't pedal my wine.
Wow, the finish is really acidic.
Mm-hmm. You like it? If it's not for you, it's not for you.
It's not for me, but I'd be interested to see how it went with food.
Understood. Fair enough. I'm not getting a little bit tricky on us. Very heavy. I get peach fuzz on the back end, which I like. Almost like a Bellini action on the back end. I get a little bit of oak. So I get a little bit of that butterscotch, that caramel. This has got great weight on the back end and finishes with great acid. I mean, this is what I look for in white wine. Give me some heaviness, give me some acid. This is why I really like Sancerre, Chablis. I tend to get that from great producers in those areas. This wine completely overshadows the two Chenin Blancs, which really kind of pisses me off. This was like a total afterthought. But it is what it is. You got to call them like you see them. And what I see here is a spectacular, under $20 white wine that, you know what, just, I'm going to shed a tear. Like, I want to be like one of those rappers that gets a tear tattooed on their face, right under their eye, because so many people in America drink $18 to $25 piece of crap Chardonnay, because it's all they know, or even worse, a ballistically over-the-top, overrated garbage Pinot Grigio, like a Santa Margarita for 25 bucks, when they could be drinking wine like this, that's real, that absolutely dominates, that brings thunder, and meanwhile, 99% of the souls out there are drinking this horse crap, and it makes me angry when this is right there in their face, and they can drink it, enjoy it, love it, hold it, cuddle it like a little baby, and really experience real wine. This is a tremendous effort. Kudos to the Wine Spectator for scoring at 90 points, but you went a little low. I'm going 92 points on this because I'm not gonna be chintzy in 2009. If I feel it and it deserves it, I don't care. I'll give 100 points to a Chenin Blanc. It's gonna be the way it's gonna be. This is spectacular. Let's go 92 plus. 92 plus on this Ruziz. This is an absolutely excellent Pinot Bianco, 18 bones, everything you could ask for. Great mid-palate transition. I mean, anytime you're going to throw me a little bit of like a white flower acacia transition that has a little bit of butterscotch. Are you kidding me? This wine rocks the house. And I'm drinking it. Now, I'm excited now. Now, that really works. I mean, you know what's funny, Mott? I've noticed, I was thinking about this. We really need better wine on the show. Because when the wines are good, I get pumped. And like when they're not, or kind of average, they're just kind of, you know what I mean? Let's talk 87 tops. If you don't want to talk baseball cards, it's time for you to go. I appreciate it. I hope you learned something. 87 tops. This is the set that basically sparked the baseball card revolution in America. This was the wood border set that every single person that is in my age group, in your early to mid 30s, bought. I mean, everybody had this set. Now, there is gum in here. So, Eric, for you and the Maniacs, I am going to eat 22-year-old bubblegum and see which wine goes well with 22-year-old bubblegum. But first, I'm going to show you a picture of Joe Necro, who's the younger brother of Phil Necro. We just saw the Phil Necro card. Necro was born in 39, right, Phil? Yep. Right? Because Joe was born in 44. I mean, pictures back then, Mott, zoom in. I mean, this guy looks like your grandpa. I mean, we got Willie Upshaw, Rick Aguilera, for all the Mets fans. They love this guy. Who else is in here? Mike Easler. Look at Jim Leland, coach of the Tigers. Thank you. There's Phil. Look at good old Phil. So we got the brother combo. AJ, it's ironic that you're here today because we got the Phil and Joe Necro. Little there. Yes, I'm Phil. Actually, Phil's not even that much older than Joe. What do we got here, Kelly? Now, Dickie Thon, who made an appearance at Northern High School when I was a senior. Pete Incaviglia, remember the gold cups? This was a big card back in the day. Julio Cruz, Mark Portugal. I like Portuguese wines. Oh, you know what? Let's save this for Portuguese wines. And that's pretty much, I mean, these guys just did not look like athletes back then. All right, 21-year-old gum. Let's see what happens.
Oh!
Oh, I don't think this is going to turn into gum.
It's not, huh?
It turned into cardboard.
It's just cardboard the whole time?
Wow.
Spit it out. Onto the wrapper. There you go.
It couldn't turn into gum, Mott. It wouldn't go.
Let me see. I can't see because of the glass.
It wouldn't go.
There you go.
It would not go.
Gummy.
I'm telling you, I can't turn it into gum. No.
Oh, yeah, it's done. Can't blow a bubble? Oh.
Oh yeah, it's nothing. But what I think that goes well with is the Molder Bosch Chenin Blanc. I was wrong. What is your favorite gum? You, with a little bit of me. We're changing the wine world.